Back in 1991, a young girl from Inglewood, California stepped on the scene and changed the face of modeling forever. From Paris runways to reality TV, this is the story of how Tyra Banks made her mark on the fashion industry. Tyra Banks was born on December 4th, 1973 in Inglewood, California. Her father was a computer consultant and her mother was a medical photographer. Her parents divorced when she was 6 years old, but she says she was so young she doesn't specifically remember it affecting her. Tyra says in middle school, she was somewhat of a mean girl, one of the popular kids and a bit gossipy. But when she moved on to high school, things changed for Tyra. Tyra attended an all-girls Catholic school, and admittedly, she was a pretty awkward teenager. Her goal wasn't always to be a model. In high school, she was working toward getting into film school and wanted to start a career as a producer and a writer. It wasn't until her freshman year in high school when a classmate told her she looked like she could be a model that Tyra even considered that an option. Well, Tyra started modeling at 15 years old, and at 17, she began seeking professional representation from local modeling agencies. She was denied multiple times until in 1990, she was signed to Elite Model Management, one of the world's top modeling agencies. Later that year, she shot her first print piece for 17 magazine. Tyra graduated high school in 1991 and enrolled at Loyola Marymount University in Los Angeles, but decided to forego the college experience for an opportunity to go to France and walk runways in Paris instead. She booked 25 runway shows while in Paris, and from there, her career started to take off. She was featured in multiple music videos, including Michael Jackson's Black or White, Tina Turner's Love Thing, and George Michael's Too Funk. Tyra also got a recurring role in The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air and became the new face of CoverGirl. On top of all of that, she had roles in popular films like Love and Basketball, Coyote Ugly, and Life Size. And even after all of this, Tyra's career was not slowing down. In 1994 and 1996, Tyra was named one of People magazine's 50 Most Beautiful Women. In 1996, Tyra became the first African-American woman to be featured on the cover of GQ magazine, the Sports Illustrated swimsuit issue, and the Victoria's Secret catalog. In 1997, Tyra Banks became one of the original Victoria's Secret Angels and also launched her own film and TV production company called Bankable Productions. Well, fast forward to 2003, Tyra Banks signed on as the host and executive producer of America's Next Top Model. If you need a reminder, the premise of America's Next Top Model is having aspiring models compete against each other in a competition for the crown of America's Next Top Model. Tyra Banks hosted the show for 14 seasons, which they refer to as cycles. There's also judging panelists, and since the show began, we've seen many models and fashion icons alike judge the show. We're talking Kimora Lee Simmons, Janice Dickinson, Nigel Barker, Jay Alexander, and even Law Roach. And the show was a huge success. It was United Paramount Network's highest rated show through its first 6 seasons. It was so successful that in 2006, it was selected to headline the newly created CW television network. So what made the show so successful? Undoubtedly, all of the ridiculous hoops Tyra made the models jump through. Here's a short but not full list of some of the craziest things that happened on the show. Cycle 4, which aired in 2005, Tyra had multiple white contestants posed as black women wearing blackface with their makeup. Cycle 6, Tyra pretended to faint as a means to scare all the contestants. Cycle 10 aired in 2008, and Tyra had the girls posing in clothes that were supposed to make them look homeless. Now, as tone-deaf as this was, one of the actual homeless women in the shoot, Isis King, was actually scouted to apply for the Cycle 11 season. Next, and I think most famously, were the insane makeovers. In Cycle 8, Jo was given a weave that took 8 hours, and she cried through the pain just to be told that they would be cutting it all out and cutting her hair short. JL is also the contestant they allowed 50 Cent to push into a pool because she was annoying him. During Cycle 5, Tyra very gently told contestant Kim to tone her sexuality down. Now, Kim was a lesbian contestant and told Tyra and the other judges that she was gay and proud of it during her audition. Tyra responded saying she's proud of being black too, but she's not walking down the runway yelling, "I'm black." Cycle 6 winner Danielle Evans was strongly encouraged to close the gap in her teeth. She was reluctant, but eventually closed it partially. Weirdly enough, 8 cycles later, contestant Chelsea Hursley was asked to widen her gap, which raised a lot of eyebrows and caused a lot of fans to question whether it had anything to do with the contestant's race. There was also that one time during Cycle 15 when Jay Alexander showed how his hands could wrap around model Ann Ward's entire waist. Now, many felt the behavior encouraged overly skinny models, and they weren't too far off. 14 cycles earlier in cycle 1, the show weighed all of the models and then proceeded to tell their weights to the entire country on national TV. One of the most egregious offenses, in my opinion, is something that took place with America's Next Top Model's first and only deaf winner, now DeMarco. They made him do a shoot in the dark, but because he is deaf and could not hear the director calling out when to pose, he felt completely lost and alone. It was almost as if the producers were trying to create a story around his disability and give him even more obstacles to overcome instead of giving him reasonable accommodations and treating him like a human being. Since 2020, a lot of people on social media, models, and people working on the show alike have spoken out on different occasions about Tyra's behavior on the show. Danielle Evans, the one who was asked to close the gap in her teeth, put out an Instagram video speaking to young girls who saw the episode, saying true beauty comes from within, not gap teeth, straight teeth, and the likes. Similarly, Jay Manuel was the creative director on the show for 18 seasons. He told Variety back in 2020 that he was really uncomfortable with the blackface photo shoots, but Tyra and Ken Mock were the executive producers, and what they said went. Now, DeMarco, the deaf winner, reflected on how inclusive the space felt as no one used ASL and he felt all alone. Tyra herself responded to a lot of the criticism, completely agreeing with what others had to say. In a now deleted tweet, she acknowledged that a lot of the past America's Next Top Model moments were insensitive and accepted the feedback. Even executive producer Kevin Mock spoke out on Twitter saying Tyra shouldn't get all the backlash for this because the entire creative team is who made it happen. So where's Tyra Banks now? In 2024, Tyra made a brief return to modeling, taking the Victoria's Secret fashion show stage. She told Daily Mail that she isn't interested in fully returning to modeling, but she is looking at going back into TV. As of 2025, she's been splitting her time between Los Angeles and Sydney, Australia to spend time with her partner and her 9-year-old son, York, who she had via surrogate back in 2016. Unfortunately, Tyra Banks' Los Angeles home was taken by the LA fires that took place in January 2025. Last but not least, Tyra started an ice cream brand back in 2020 called Smize and Dream. She's had pop-up shops in Los Angeles, DC, Dubai, and Sydney, Australia. She's expected to open her first standing shop later this year, although we don't have many details on where it will be. But let me know what you think. Were you a fan of America's Next Top Model, and did I miss any moments that went just a little too far? If you want to hear more pop culture history stories, make sure you subscribe to my channel for more. And if you liked what you saw, make sure you like, comment, and share with a friend to spread the love. It's the best way to help the show grow. Thank you so much for watching, and see you next week.